Yes, so Krishna is teaching us how does hearing Shranavatam eventually leads to Drishta Evatmanishware. So Drishta means to see, even if you don't fully understand this phrase, Drishta means to see, Ishwara means Bhagwan. So just if you look at it from that way, but let's look at it more clearly. That thus Bhakti Yogi enables one to come at once to the stage of asamsyam, understanding the supreme absolute truth. So if we become drishtya, yes, we get to see, but also we fully understand. So it's seeing from my heart and seeing from my eyes. Both of those things are there. So it takes Shranavata, takes us hearing, takes us all the way up to seeing Krishna. That's the strength of hearing. And uh, we saw this hierarchy. So we saw this hierarchy, how from Shrinu all the way to my asakta manha. So my asakta manha, as you see, is the topmost level of bhakti. Fully our mind, fully dedicated to Krishna. And hearing is the beginning where all this starts. Right? So we talked about it that, right? Shrinu, regular hearing, and then samagram, yathagyas, we'll know Krishna properly. Asamshayam, we'll be free from doubts. Right? And then we'll take ashraya, we'll take shelter of Krishna. And then yogam yunjam. So yogam yunjam means practical action, devotional service. Right? And then eventually maya saktamana, mind will become attached to Krishna. So Shrinu is the important thing. That's yeah, we talked about. So the first three verses were about hearing for Krishna. Krishna was highlighting the concept of hearing. Because for bhakti, it's hearing, right? So that's the most important thing that Prabhupada has brought for Krishna and Prabhupada, both of them are highlighting for us. Okay, so that was one. And then in the second verse, Krishna he talks about how by hearing, you'll get to know both phenomenal and numinous. So the word jnana is knowledge and vijnana is numinous knowledge. So this Prabhupada is translating it that, right? So in a general sense, Gyan refers to theoretical knowledge, Vigyan refers to experimental knowledge, right? So, but Prabhupada is using it as phenomenal. So phenomenal, the word phenomenal means it refers to things as they appear, pratyaksha, right? And then Vigyan is something that is beyond our sense perception, beyond our understanding. It has to come from a higher realm. Somebody has to give it to us, like a charity or something, without any, like a guru. That's what a guru does. He gives it to us without any desires, and he's because of his mercy. So that's nominal knowledge. Okay. So we did that was the second one, and then the third one was Krishna was saying how it is rare. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor perfection, and of those thousand who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. And as we discussed, that these thousand men that are being talked about, they are all right, karma yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogis. So there are thousands of them. One of them may even think of perfection. That hey, I want to perfect my life. And then those who have achieved perfection, all those karma yogi, jnana yogis, dhyana yogis, perfection for them means perfection in their particular path. Right? Because Krishna later on says, hardly one knows me in truth. So, out of thousands and thousands of people who are practicing Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, even Bhakti Yogis for that matter, because when we do Bhakti Yogi, I'll take a step back. When we do Bhakti, we do it mishra, it's mixed Bhakti we do. Sometimes it's done with Jnana mixed to it. I'm very fond of collecting knowledge. I read all different shastras, collect all knowledge, and then I just mesmerize people by my talks. I have read 10 different versions of Gita or 10 different versions of Ramayana and so forth. So so bhakti can also be mixed. Okay, so coming back now. So people who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth is that only one person comes to the level of understanding who Krishna is. And that only can happen for a bhakti yogi. So in bhakti yoga also, there are different people who can get misled on the path of bhakti. Right? Okay, so so this is what we talked about. Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of the word tattvataha? What does anybody remember about tattvataha? Tattva, sorry, not tattva. Tattva. We talked about tattva briefly. Prabhupada is translating. Sorry, somebody was saying something. Okay.
Truth.
Truth, okay. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying, in fact. So do we know Krishna in truth or not? Well, we know Krishna, right? A blue boy, peacock feather, forest flower garland, Mother Yashoda Maya, Father Nanda Maharaj. So do we know Krishna in truth? Is that the truth? What would you say? Not just you, anybody. I'm asking this question in general.
Seeing is different than realization. So, okay,
Mm.
I know like he's blue, but I don't have a realization of that. So,
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes. The knowing is very different than realization. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yes, somebody who sees truth, and now Krishna, as we move forward today, Krishna will talk about his different energies. Right? The reason he's going to talk about those different energies is because he wants us to understand what does this tattvata mean actually, that I've just spoken that word. So let's look at those verses, and then we can come back to this concept of tattvata. It's a dense concept, so we should understand it. Well, it's not that complicated, but it's a bit dense, so we should understand it also properly. Okay, so we'll start, but we'll start with the prayers first before we go there. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so 1 to 3 verse was about hearing. Okay, and then Krishna ended by tattvata. Okay, now 4th verse to the 7th verse, Krishna is going to talk about Jiva, Prakriti, and Jagdish. As if you remember, we talked about how Bhagavad Gita, we talked about how Bhagavad Gita is complete, right? There was this discussion we were having that how Bhagavad Gita is complete. So Bhagavad Gita is complete because it tells us about everything in this creation. And what are those 3 things? That is Jagat, this material world. That is Jiva, that is me as a living entity. And then the last is Bhagavan, Jagadish. So now Krishna is going to elaborate upon that. That's why Bhagavad Gita is complete in its knowledge. It has everything that we need. Right? So that's why it's complete. So we're going to now list. So this section of perceiving Krishna everywhere. That's what this section is going to teach us. Okay. So what Gyan and Vigyan that Krishna talked about in this earlier verse, Jnanam teham sa Vigyanam idam vakshami shishata yach gyatva neha bhuyonyach gyatavam avashishyate. So the Gyan and Vigyan that Krishna was referring to in the 2nd verse is being told here now, in these verses. Okay. So let's look at them. So it's Bhumir Apo Nalo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhire Vachaha Ahankara Itiyamne Bhinna Prakartir Ashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these constitute my separated material energies. Right? So this is the first aspect that Krishna is going to talk about. Right? So he's saying, Bhumir Apo Nalo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhir Evacha. Ahankara. But then he's saying that all is Krishna's energy, but is bhinna. The word being used here is, where is that? Bhinna. So bhinna means they are separated. Right? So they are not like Krishna is made up of them. Right? one and different at the same time. Um, so we'll talk about that concept also, right? As we go forward in this, the Achinta Bhed Tattva. We'll talk about that also a bit today. But yes, so it's Bhinna, but at the same time, it's coming from Krishna, right? So all is Krishna's energy. So Prabhupada, in the purport, he starts talking about the three Purusha expansions. Can anybody tell me what are the three Purusha expansions? Anybody knows? If they have read the purport, they should know it.
Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu.
Okay, can somebody else tell me who's Mahavishnu? Mahavishnu. Okay, so let's just understand these three. So yes, so rightly said, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu. Okay. So
Oh, I can try.
yeah, please go ahead.
So Prabhu, like Krishna is like obviously the ultimate, Avatari, right? And then from him, like there is uh, a cause, right? Karan, which like the cause of that, of the creation, which is the Karunadaksha Vishnu, and then the cause actually turns into some kind of effect, right? Which is like the Garbhodakshi Vishnu, and from there all these different expansion comes. That's what roughly I understood.
Well, you're right in the sense that they are expansions, but let's go in more detail about it. Let's look at it, what it is. And Prabhupada talks about it.
It's the
Yes, somebody's saying something, please go ahead.
it's the first expansion of Krishna.
So you're saying Mahavishnu is the first expansion of Krishna?
Yes. Am I?
No, he's not the first expansion of Krishna. The first
First
expansion
is
of
like
Krishna
Balram.
is Balram.
Balram.
And from Balram comes the Chaturvyuha.
Chaturvyu.
And then from the
Sankarshan.
first Chaturvyuha comes the second Chaturvyuha, and from them comes Narayan, and from him comes Mahavishnu. That's a bit long thing. I won't go into those details. But no, the first, that's the no, because Mahavishnu is in this material world. So so let's just read it quickly. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates a total material energy known as Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Shirodakshay Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading super soul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. And if I think, let me quickly show you a picture, if I could find it. This looks like a good one. Let me see. Let's look at it. I'm not sure if it's perfect, but let's just see this. Okay. So if you look at this, this is a whole universe. Okay, this is one universe that's being shown here. This is one universe. Okay. Oh no, but I have to show you multiple universes to get that.
The first canto cover is there.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the good one. Yes, that's also a good one. And if I could just show you also this way, which one was I? Is this a good one? Let me see. The picture. Yes. Oh, there. So okay, let's just try to understand from this one. So this is Mahavishnu. He's there. Out of him, all universes are coming out. So he's Mahavishnu. So that's the first level. And from him, all the millions and millions of material universes are coming out. And then in each of the universe, like what we were looking at earlier, right? So out of him, Garbhodakshay Vishnu comes, that Mahavishnu expands into Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So Garbha Dakshay, right? So he's the Garbho, he's the from whom this universe is being created. Because if you see from his navel comes this lotus stem on which Brahma is born, and then Brahma creates all the 14 planetary systems. So he's Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And then we are here, which is Bhuloka, which is the Earth planetary system. All the living entities, and not just here, in any of these realms, all the living entities, Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands as Paramatma in everybody's hearts, which is Kshirodakshay Vishnu. And Kshirodakshay Vishnu also has a residence in this universe. Shira means milk. So he lives on a milk. There's the milk ocean. That's where all the demigods go when they're praying. When Brahma goes to pray, because in the beginning of Bhagavatam we see that, right? Mother Bhumi is really sad by all that, the demoniac people on earth, and she's requesting for some relief. She goes to Brahma, and then Brahma goes to the shore of the milk ocean, and then he prays to the Lord. And so that's the Kshirodakshay Vishnu. He's the third expansion. So these three expansions of Vishnu are there in this material world. So if somebody asks you, Paramatma is Kshirodakshay Vishnu. If somebody asks you for more details. But because all these Vishnus are coming from Krishna, so he's practically a part of Krishna, that is sitting in our heart. And he has a specific purpose to guide us in whichever life we may go. Next life I might become a dog, he'll come with me to guide me. But if I'm not able to take his guidance as a human being, I'll not be able to take his guidance as a dog for sure. So because I'm a human being, I should just take that guidance and move forward. Okay, so yes, so Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhi Revacha. So yeah, Prabhupada talks about this in this, right? So and then let's see what else is Prabhupada talking about. Okay, so he talks about Mahatattva, right? So Mahatattva is material nature after it has been activated by the glance of the Lord, and the time factor has been introduced, right? So if you look at the steps in the cosmology, before creation, all the three gunas, they are in a perfect balance. The whole material nature is inactive. No universes, no bodies, senses, planets, elements, nothing are manifest. Then, when the Lord glances on it, then it becomes Pradhan. So Mahatattva and then Pradhan. So Mahavishnu glances over material nature, the Kal, the time concept comes into being, right? And then the gunas become disturbed, material nature becomes active, living entities come, and then they try to connect with different gunas, and that's how this whole world is created. So that's what Prabhupada is talking about, Mahatattva. That's what it is. Okay. So let's just start with this. Eight elements. We talked about them: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. False ego. Prabhupada is highlighting. All material. Okay. So now let's see. That's the first aspect.
Prabhu, one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
What does the other Vishnu do other than like Mahavishnu? Like he glances and then he actually sets the ball rolling, right? Kind of. But what the other Vishnus do?
Well, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the one from whose navel Brahma is born.
But other than that, does he do anything else? Or he just like kind of lies down and...
No, he's lying down there. His main job is to create this universe. So for the creation of this universe, or to activate this universe, Brahma has to be born. And then Brahma is born from his navel, and then those material universes are created. So it's like saying that, okay, you start a company, and who's giving you the seed fund to start that company? Yeah, so he's that guy, kind of that person.
Oh, he's like a venture capitalist.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. Without the venture capitalist, your startup will never kick off. So you can. So he's the source of that. So all that to begin. Yes. And then Kshirodaksha Vishnu, as I said, he's in everybody's heart as Paramatma. And he's also present physically in this universe. He's the accessible form of Vishnu for all the demigods. Garbhodaksha Vishnu is not accessible because he's sitting at the bottom of that entire 14 planetary systems. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu is not accessible. Kshirodaksha Vishnu is accessible. All the demigods go to him whenever they have any problems. Right? So yeah, the Devtas, they recite the Purusha Shukta. So, and many of the times the incarnation, they are coming through that Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Right? But in one day of Brahma, the boss comes himself. No incarnation. He's not an avatar. He's the avatari. That's Krishna. Right? So he's not an avatari. So the boss comes. That's the 28th Divya Yuga of the 7th Yuga cycle, or 7th Manu. That's where we are right now. So that's when the boss comes. Okay.
So, Prabhu, when we are praying to Krishna, right? Actually, we are not even praying to the creator. We are praying to the creator of the creator, right? In a way.
Yeah, you're praying to somebody who's a source of everything, right? If you pray to Vishnu, obviously Prabhupada has taught us that Vishnu and Krishna are not separate from each other. Vishnu is very much like the father in the office. He has a very different appearance. He's very professional. It's not like he's joking and laughing and having fun with everybody. He's very focused on his work. But then that same father, when he comes home, he's relaxed and he's in true nature. He's having a loving relationship with his son or daughter, and they're playing, and so there's no more that awe and reverence anymore. That's Krishna. So Krishna, when he shows his complete aura, where there is also awe and reverence, there is love, there is relationship, he's Sampurna. That's why he's complete. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadi Radir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the Sarva Karana Karanam. Nobody in this creation is the Karan of Krishna. Everybody in this creation is a Karan coming from Krishna. Their source eventually would be in Krishna. So yes, you rightly said, he's the super boss. Nobody above him. And he comes once in a day of Brahma. So you all can imagine how lucky we are. Krishna was here 5,000 years ago, which is practically nothing in the 13.7 billion, years of, what's this, a day, I think? Yeah, of Brahma. So not much to, so he was just right here. Krishna was just right here a few seconds ago. Okay, so then the next aspect Krishna is going to tell us. So first he told us about his material energy. Then he's going to tell us about his superior energy. He's saying, Aparemitastu anyam prakriti viddhi me param jeev bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharate jagat. Aparem. Inferior besides this. So besides this inferior nature that I have told you about, Arjun, there is a superior nature of mind, which is the living entities. So let's read the verse. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjun, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Okay, so we are the superior energy. We are superior to this material nature. Okay, this is the second thing that Krishna is telling us. So this is the second energy that Krishna is bringing into the picture. And Krishna is saying living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Okay, so when you all read this verse, why do you think Krishna is using the word exploiting? Krishna could have just used the word interacting, enjoying. Why to use that word exploiting? And because you see, the Sanskrit is dharyate. So if you see, the word dharyate has a root in dharan. So dharan, the word dharan means to adopt something. So okay, and then dharana, dharan and dharana is a thought process. So what I'm hinting at is the root word dhar indicates towards me utilizing something. Okay, so can somebody? Yes, sorry, coming back to my question. Why did Krishna use the word exploiting and not interacting, enjoying? Give it a try. Someone was not spoken to yet. Somebody knew I wanted to try. Let me see if all are here. Okay, somebody wants to
So,
try.
yeah, can I try? I'm not sure though about the answer.
Go
So
ahead.
he's saying that we are exploiting because we are using something which is not ours. So when we are
Mhm.
taking somebody's property and using it, it's exploitation.
Okay, yeah. Because yes, the condition, but that we as living entities, when we approach that inferior energy that Krishna has just told us about, the only way we are looking at it is how can it serve me? That's the basic question we ask. Scientists look at minerals. Oh, how can they serve us? Uranium, let's make a nuclear bomb or nuclear power plant, you know, or whatever elements, there are so many different elements that are used for different things. So, but the essence is still there, that how can this particular inferior nature or inferior material help serve me? So the word exploitation, it implies there is selfishness in it. There is a extraction, that I want to take something out of this. And there is no relationship, right? And there is a sense of domination also. That is why in the Vedic culture, we would name everything. Krishna has a name for every single cow of his. I was in New Vrindavan this weekend, and it's so beautiful to see that all the cows have a name to them, and they all have a loving relationship with their mothers, with their caretakers. It's not about using them, but when you go to a slaughterhouse, or even if you go to a commercial dairy where they're extracting milk from the cows and then just sending them to slaughterhouses, they're not naming those cows because they know that the more close you get, the harder it will be for you to sacrifice or kill that animal. So there is a sense of exploitation which gets extremely deep and very, very selfish, very, very ugly when you think of these so-called not so-called these slaughterhouses. So yes, that's why Krishna is using that words explicitly, that because at this moment all the living entities are trying to enjoy it, right? Material life is built on a false ego. I am the enjoyer and this is mine. Surprisingly, interestingly, the soul by itself does not truly own material nature. We don't own this material nature. Practically, I don't own this body. Soon, this body, and we all know science has proven that every 7 years, our body has completely changed. We have a new cell, our whole the cells have changed. Right? So, even this body is not my own, but I still try to control everything. And so called civilization, which people say they are becoming advanced, actually, it's not advanced. They're just advancing in exploitation, exploiting nature, exploiting animals, people, time, relationship, even our own bodies, right? But the bhakti means transforms the mentality from exploitation to service, right? So that's why Krishna. So it's a very very interesting word that used. It always intrigues me to understand more that why did Krishna use the word exploit? But this is the reason why he's using it. Okay. And yes, Prabhupada is saying, while exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. So not only we are not able to control that inferior energy, but what's worse, we lose our own identity in that process. And that's really very, very bad position to be in. Right? So that's why Prabhupada is really clearly telling us that not only are you trying to control something that is beyond your control, but you also forget your spiritual identity. Okay. And then sixth one, Krishna highlights that all created beings have their source in these two natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. So now Krishna is just giving us clearly, hey, everything is mine. It's just me. Right? So now the third personality. So we talked about Jiva, we talked about Jagat, and now Jagadish comes in. Krishna. Krishna is all inclusive. He's the cause of creation, he's the cause of dismantling it. And the glory of Krishna is that he's all pervading. Right? Not just in a sense of time, but he's also in sense of existence, right? So So that's what Krishna is just clearly telling that I'm the source of everything. Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Yeah. Without a spirit interacting with the matter is nothing. It won't move. A stone will remain where it is till eternity. If until unless the spirit, a living entity, comes, picks it up, probably sculpts it into a sculpture, or puts it in a wall, makes a house out of it. Until then, there is nothing. The matter is sitting there. When we come, we start using it. Okay. So okay, so let's see. Okay, Prabhupada ends this by using this verse from Katha Upanishad, and let's just read before that. Krishna, the Supreme, is the cause of both the big and small souls. Therefore, he is the original cause of all causes. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetnanam. Can somebody think what does it mean? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetnanam. Everybody knows the word of the meaning Nitya? Can somebody tell me what does Nitya mean?
It might be daily.
Nitya is eternal. Nitya, right? Nityam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It can also mean daily, but it's eternal, like it's always existing. Okay, so Nitya. And what does Chetana mean?
Consciousness.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Consciousness?
Consciousness, yes. So now can somebody tell me what does this mean? Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetnanam. Nityo means eternal. Chetana means consciousness. And there are two, the similar, right? It's Nityo, Nityanam. Chetanas, Chetnanam. So they're similar words. They're being repeated. Can somebody think what does it indicate? What does it mean?
Eternal consciousness.
Yes, eternal consciousness, but so it's also Dityo and Chetana, but the Nityanam and Chetananam, they also indicate. So what this verse indicates is, somebody was saying something, want to give it a try? No? Okay. Nityo, Nityanam. Nityanam is plural. Nityo is singular. Chetanas, singular. Chetananam, plural. So that one Nitya, eternal, Krishna, is taking care of all the other eternals, Nityanam, the living entities. He's the conscious, one conscious is taking up all the other conscious beings. So that's what it means. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. So he's the source of all, and he's taking care of all of them. That's what it means. Okay, so left 7. 7 now Krishna is again just kind of making a very, very clear statement. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. It's a very interesting way of putting it, right? So there's no truth superior to him, right? Anybody in this world, if somebody comes and tells you, oh no, Indra is superior, you say, Bhagavad Gita is the basis of our civil culture, the Vedic civilization, and Krishna is clearly telling us, Mata paratram na ne, there is no one superior to me. There might be sections of Hinduism that they might be doing extremely well, billionaires, trillionaires, whatever they may be. But if they don't realize that Krishna is supreme, there's no value for all that. Right? External success doesn't mean that Krishna is very happy with them. No, Krishna doesn't care about external success for anyone. They can have all the billions, trillions dollars they want. For a devotee, the goal is, do I have Krishna's mercy? And that mercy only comes when we understand that Krishna is supreme. And my relationship with Krishna is of a servant, of serving Krishna, out of love, loving relationship. And the beautiful part is that when I serve Krishna out of love, then Krishna becomes subservient to me. He comes and sits in my heart, and then he cannot go anywhere because out of that loving relationship. That's what happened when Bali Maharaj gave up everything. Vaman Dev said, just I really like the way you have surrendered to me. I am going to stay as your doorkeeper for the rest of eternity in Sutal Loka, and I won't go anywhere unless you order me. That's the level of love what can happen. Krishna, when Durvasa Muni is running all over the creation, running from the chakra that has been let loose because he was trying to hurt Ambarish Maharaj. He goes to Vishnu and he says, "Hey, this is your chakra. Tell the chakra to stop." And Vishnu says, "No. Aham bhakta paradhino, he asatantra iva dvija. Aham bhakta paradhino. I'm actually subservient to my own devotees." So I took a tangent, but just to let you know that one who understands, this is a part of that tattva concept that we were talking about. If we don't understand that Krishna is supreme, in my mind there's still doubts. It doesn't look like Krishna is supreme. Did you see that? What happened? In that story I read about Krishna, or I've seen somebody defeat Krishna, or something, all that sort of stuff. Then we are not in tattva. We are far from it. So we need to understand that. So Krishna is clearly highlighting that here. Okay. Okay, let me ask a question here. I'd like to put this other question. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So somebody can come and question you and say that, Krishna is like a thread, he's saying, right? The thread is invisible in a pearl necklace. Therefore, Krishna must ultimately be formless. So how would you answer that? Let me see more of this. Saina, you're there? You want to try it?
The question is about how would you respond to them if they say the pearls are invisible?
Because this verse also sounds as if that if you look at a pearl necklace, the thread is not visible. So somebody can say, I know Krishna is not visible. He doesn't have a visible form. He's just like a cloud of energy somewhere. How would you counter that from this statement here in this verse? How would you counter that? Give it a try. I didn't put you on. It's just to say whatever you feel like is the answer.
Well, I would say that just the thread is invisible, but there's still something holding, like the beads aren't just like strung with voidness. Like there's still going to be Krishna's energy everywhere. He's still going to have a form. Like
yeah, that's a very good point you bring up. Yeah, that's a very good point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he can't just be a void. Like there's still going to be something holding, like caring for all the living entities and holding like the so-called the beads up. Just because you can't see the thread doesn't mean it doesn't actually have a form.
Yeah, the thread is hidden, but it's not formless. Yeah, that's a very good way of you mentioning it, right? A thread itself has a form. It's a real object, right? The analogy is not saying that there is an empty space holding pearls. Krishna specifically saying threads, right? So yeah, that's a very good point. That's how we can counter that, because the thread actually points that Krishna is a real entity, right? And he's actually holding and sustaining everything, right? So yeah, okay. So anybody else wants to give it a try? What do you think is? I think somebody had their hand up.
Prabhuji, maybe we can say that like air is everywhere, but when we turn on the fan, we can feel it. So same way, like Krishna is everywhere, but when we become Krishna conscious, when we turn our, mind to Krishna, then we can feel the presence of Krishna.
So you're saying that we can, yes, Krishna is all pervasive, but we can also feel his presence clearly when we interact with his energies. Become Krishna conscious. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I think what you're highlighting is that when a devotee progresses in bhakti, a time comes when he can actually feel the presence of Krishna in his or her life, and you can see Krishna's hand in everything. So yes, okay, that's also a good one. What else? Anybody else?
It's a circular logic, right? I mean, we can easily say like, hey, formlessness, whatever the formlessness rests on, that is something that's beyond anybody's comprehension, because that is Bhagwan himself. So it's like asking a question that should not be asked.
I didn't get you, Prabhu, sorry.
So probably like people say, right, that okay, hey, whatever, formlessness is the ultimate truth, right? For the people who are talking about formlessness. But what I'm saying is like whatever the formlessness rests on, that is Krishna. So essentially asking, like, answering a question about the nature of God itself is not the right question to ask, because human mind cannot understand the nature of God.
Okay, so yes, so saying
In other
that,
words, like Krishna is beyond formlessness, so how can you ask that question? So question itself doesn't exist.
yeah. So okay, I get you. So you're saying that there is somebody who's, if I look at it from this analogy perspective, there is somebody who's saying that I'm the thread, right? So somebody is saying that actually. So similarly, so who's the one who's saying that I'm the thread? And somebody is who, even if you think is formless, there is somebody who's beyond that formless, right? So
Yep.
okay, I get your point. Yes, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah, no, these all are very good points. Yes, yeah, and Krishna also brings this up again in the Bhagavad Gita at multiple points. We'll see that when we go. Not only this verse, Krishna will say this again and again, that Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. In the 10th chapter will come, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, I'm the source of everything, and so forth. He'll just keep repeating it again and again and again. So yes, that's something to keep in mind, that whenever you meet such people who challenge you, so there'll always be two kind of people who will challenge you. One, who in their mind have made it up that I'm going to show this person that he's an idiot. Like he'll think about me that way. I meet such kind of people every time in book distribution. They have just come with that single pointed focus that I have to show this guy that he's a fool. He's worshiping dolls. He has no sense that Jesus is the God, or whoever, not just he's anybody. He has no, that he's stupid, so I'm going to fix him. So that's one category of people. You don't argue with them. Okay. But then there's another category of people who are genuinely questioning. They are not like there to insult me, but they have these genuine questions they don't know. Those kind of peoples, we always should be ready to answer and help. Okay. In the 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 47th verse, I think, we are told by one of the Nava Yogendras, they say, right, Ishware tadadineshu balisheshu dushatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yaha karoti samadhyama. You are giving the qualities of a madhyam adhikari, that to God he has a loving relation. Ishware tadadineshu. Balisheshu dushatsucha. To the friends, he's so God, friends, and people who are innocent, that person has a loving relationship towards them. But people dvisha, who are envious, he stays away from them. He doesn't interact with those people. So just, sorry, I went off, but just want to let you know, because you will find such people every time now and then. And I hope you do, because only when you will interact with such people and just speak your mind out loud, will you understand what is missing in us. That's the way I've always learned it. When I speak it to somebody, I realize, oh, Premda, you don't know this part. Go back and read it or understand that. And that's how it all becomes strong. Our bhakti becomes strong. What's that verse? Siddhanta baliya chitte nakar alash iha hoite krista lage sudrid manas. That Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that. Siddhanta baliya chitte nakar alash. Don't feel lazy in discussing Siddhanta. Iha hoite Krishna lage sudrid manas. Sudrid means determined, very strong. Manas, mind. Our mind becomes very, very strong. Intelligence becomes very strong when we discuss Siddhanta with others. Okay. So this was this verse. Let's go to the 8th verse. Now, Krishna, what he's going to do here from the 8th verse onwards, he's going to go into more details. Okay, he's going to talk about many different things. Description through examples. How he's the essence of everything. Right? That he just told us, right? That Mata Paratram Nanne. So he's going to tell us about many things. So he'll start with some very basic things. O son of Kunti, and the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, and the sound in ether and ability in man. Okay, he's the taste of water. It is extraordinary, right? Just imagine that I'm drinking water here. So practically I'm in touch with Krishna. He's the taste of water. Generally, we don't pay attention to this. Right? You could even possibly print this out and put it on your water bottle. Rasoham apsu konteya. That Krishna is the taste of water that I'm drinking. We all can remember Krishna when we drink water. Prabhupada would always say that, how easy it is to remember Krishna. You drink water, Krishna. You look at the sun, Krishna. All that is Krishna. Right? So we don't understand it as of yet, or we don't perceive it fully because we have not trained ourselves yet. Receptivity is missing. There are instructions available everywhere in the world for us. But unless I have created the proper environment in my heart and mind, I will not be able to receive them. Sometimes there are so many people who come in contact with good instructions, but those instructions never take root in their heart because they have not yet created the proper environment in their hearts and mind. When we have the right environment in our heart, bhakti will descend in our heart automatically. It's not something I can raise my arm and grab it. No, it doesn't work that way. Right? Prabhupada says all you have to do is be steady in your practice, and in due time, your bhakti will become strong and you will relish it. Initially, Manha Krishna Nivesha, Yena Kena Prakarena, Manha Krishna Nivesha. Somewhere or the other, connect with Krishna. We all are trying to do that by Vedic bhakti, chanting, following the four regulative principles, service in the temple, and so forth. Right? So all you have to do is just stay in the game, stay steady, and keep doing it. And when the right time comes, Krishna will give us that lolyam, the greed. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadi kuto api na labhyate tatra lolyam api mulyam eklam sarva koti no janma koti sukritir nasa labhyate. That once you have that lolyam, that greed for bhakti, that's it. You're all ready. You're done. You're perfected it. That greed is what will take you to Krishna. That will pull you there. It's there. It just needs to be awakened. And all that strength comes from our numerical quota. I do my 16 rounds every day. I do my reading every day, hearing every day. Just keep showing up for your bhajan, and everything will be perfect. Okay. So that's where Krishna is starting. Rasoham Supante. Then he says, Prabhashmi Shashi Surya. I have all that. I'm the source of light. And so he's saying that. Right. And then he's saying, I'm sound in the ether. Or one thing before I go there is, Krishna will say that I'm the taste of water, but that doesn't mean that Krishna is limited to that. Okay, that's one thing I wanted to highlight here. If he's saying that I'm the taste of water, it doesn't mean that Krishna is only the taste of. He's not contained within that. So just keep that in mind, that he's everywhere. He's not limited to one thing, but we can perceive him in many different ways. And then he says, I'm the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. Right? So the Om is more of a impersonal way. Right? Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it invokes the absolute truth in a very personal way. For example, if you're referring to a prime minister, somebody who's very close to the prime minister might call him by their first name. For example, Donald Trump, somebody might be calling him Donny. Right? In India, we have Narendra Modi, so you can call him Naru Bhai. Some people call him Naru Bhai. Right? So that's referring to the very personal way. But the same can be referred to in a very impersonal way. Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. President. That's an impersonal way. So the difference lies in the level of intimacy. So just wanted to briefly give you that difference between Om and the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Just keeping that in mind. Okay, and then he says, I'm the sound in ether. So sound is the source of everything, right? All creation, anavritti shabda. And even in Bible it said, right, there was word before creation and the word was God. So there was this anavritti shabda. So And then he says, I am the ability in man, right? So without ability, we cannot do anything. Right? And so one thing to keep in mind, yes, we all have abilities, but those abilities are, we are not should not be, we should not feel entitled that, oh, these are mine and I deserve them. Abilities are endowments from Krishna. They're like a gift from Krishna. Okay. So we should not feel proud about that. Okay. So sound, ability, man. So yes. Okay. So let's go on, see. Okay. Prabhupada is saying, one who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything and there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achinta Bhed Abhed Tattva, simultaneously oneness and difference. Can somebody tell me what does this mean? Impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and there is no contradiction. Can somebody think what does it mean? Prabhupada is saying that there is no contradiction in the impersonal and personal form. First, tell me what is the personal form. You can tell me. Binu, you have your hand up. Is it for this or something else?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
I was going to ask you what you just asked us, what it meant.
Okay. Okay. So I'm giving you a chance. I'll explain what is it.
I had it highlighted, but also the sentence before that, I wanted to read it out. The impersonalists perceive the presence of the Lord in water by its taste, and the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying the tasty water to quench. I am not understanding the difference here. I have it highlighted, and I'm not understanding what this is.
Okay. So the impersonalist is looking at the taste of water. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the personalist, yes, the taste is also, he's glorifying the taste, but he also knows that the taste is coming from Krishna. So Krishna is very kindly supplying us that tasty water to quench our thirst. So there is a slight difference in the way both are looking at it. The impersonalist, even though he's relishing the Lord, but he's not seeing it as a form God. He's saying, okay, Krishna is all pervasive as an energy. He doesn't have a form. He has come into this water as its taste. Whereas a devotee looks at it by saying that, hey, this water, it quenches my thirst. Thank you, Krishna, for giving it to me. So he's looking at more of a form of God. That's the difference. They both are perceiving it in.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's it. But then, yes, so there are two separate ways. But Prabhupada later on is saying that there is no difference in them. There's no contradiction. So can somebody think, what does that mean? And I just explained, but yes, the personal feature, Bhagavan Krishna. Impersonal feature, you can say Brahman is all-pervading energy. Right? So what do you think when Prabhupada says does not, what's that? There's no contradiction in both of them. Can somebody think what it means for you?
I can give it a try.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I think it's just like what you were saying, that the Prime Minister, he definitely has a personal name, but at the same time, you can also call him Mr. President. So I think it's like impersonal and personal are simultaneously present.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. Yes, they are not mutually exclusive realities, right? One does not cancel the other, right? So one material way somebody can think that, oh, if God has a form, he cannot be everywhere. And if God is everywhere, he cannot have a form. That's a very narrow way of thinking. But Prabhupada is telling us, Krishna consciousness, Mahaprabhu has told us, both of them can be simultaneously true. The God can have a form and he can also be everywhere. So, right? So that's the beauty of this. That's why what Mahaprabhu has given us is complete. The Achinta Bhed Tattva. Right? So let's just talk about, I think Prabhupada is highlighting that later on, that Achinta Bhed Tattva. So the Achinta Bhed Tattva, simultaneously oneness and difference. So everything is one with Krishna because it is his energy. Right? But then it's also different from Krishna because he is the source of everything. For example, Prabhupada talks about this quite often across Bhagavatam, that let me think. Let me see if I can find that verse. Probably that'll be better. I can't remember what exactly it's from. It comes in the 4th canto somewhere. Quickly find it. I'll take a minute. If I can't find it, I'll just. Four. 31 chapter, I think. Let's see. Okay, so I found this verse. Let me just share this quickly so that we can go through exactly what Prabhupada has told us. This is one of them. I have another verse in mind. Probably we'll come to that also. So let's see. Just as the sunshine is non-different from the sun, the cosmic manifestation is also non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality is therefore all-pervasive within this material creation. When the senses are active, they appear to be part and parcel of the body. When the body is asleep, their activities are unmanifest. Similarly, the whole cosmic creation appears different and yet non-different from the Supreme. So let's see what Prabhupada is saying. This confirms the philosophy of Abhīṣṭa-dohaṁ Bhed Tattva, simultaneously one and different, propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is simultaneously different and non-different from this cosmic manifestation. In the previous verse, it has been explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the root of a tree, is the original cause of everything. It was also explained how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-pervasive. He is present within everything in this material manifestation. Since the energy of the Supreme Lord is non-different from him, this material cosmic manifestation is also non-different from him, although it appears different. The sunshine is not different from the sun itself, but it is simultaneously also different. This is a very good example Prabhupada is giving here, analogy. The sunshine is not different from the sun itself, but it is simultaneously also different. One may be in the sunshine, but he is not on the sun itself. So this is the way to understand, right? That yes, I may be in the sunshine, but I'm not on the sun itself. So sunshine is not different from the sun. At the same time, it's also different from the sun. So that's one way of understanding this concept of Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva. Another way of understanding the Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva is that I, as a living entity, we read that Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam. Living entity is eternal, just like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like Krishna, I am also eternal. So that's the sameness between me and Krishna. But the difference is that the Supreme Lord is the greatest. He is infinite. No one is equal to or greater than him. Whereas I, as a living entity, I'm sukshma. I'm very small. I'm finite. Okay, so that's where I'm different. So there is simultaneously oneness and difference in this creation. So hope that was clear enough for everybody.
Prabhu, I think also we can draw an analogy between like our own bodies, right? I mean, we know it's our body, but then we know it's not, it's not the ultimate reality because we feel different in the body itself.
Yeah, that's also a good way of putting it. Yes.
Or even sleep, right? I mean, when you go to sleep, you're sleeping, but actually, your mind slept. You're not actually, So some of those weird things like we've got sometimes feel, right?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes, we can think of it from a different perspective. Yes, how to understand that we are same as different also. Thank you. Okay, so next verse continues. Krishna continues his descriptions. I'm the original fragrance of the earth, and I'm the heat and fire. I'm the life of all that lives, and I'm the penance of all ascetics. The word Krishna is using is Punyo Gandha Prithviyam Cha. So Punyo here is translated as original. Punya is original. It's not old. It's not degraded. So natural earth has a distinct fragrance. And for example, you might put a seed on the ground in the ground, put mud on it, and the seed grows. Right? The seed didn't have any fragrance. The mud didn't have any fragrance. But the flower that comes out, the flower is extremely fragrant. Right? So that's understand. So Punyo Gandha. Then Punyo Gandha Prithvim Cha Tejas Chasmi Vibhavashav. Tejas Chasmi Vibhavashav. So he's saying that I am the Teja, heat in the fire. Right? And Teja, the word Teja can be used for different, right? Cooking food. Even Teja is digesting food, right? We have a fire in our stomach that helps us digest food. When we are sick and we're not able to digest food, and Prabhupada would say that your temperature of your digestive system is low, right? And so that's Teja. That's Krishna. That heat and fire is Krishna. He's Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu, right? So when Krishna in the first chapter, when Arjun tells Krishna that take me in the middle of the battlefield, right? Krishna looks at all of them. He says that, right? That Pashyetan Samaveta Kuruniti. That look at everybody, at all the living entities. So Krishna's glance shortens the lives of all those living entities who were supporting Duryodhana, right? Because they all humiliate. They were supporting somebody who humiliated a pure devotee, Draupadi. So Krishna was very upset. What I'm trying to hint at is that Krishna can extend or restrict the life of anybody because he's Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. And then he says Tapashyashmi Tapashvishu, that austerities. Kya ho Krishna? I can't hear you. Sorry for the interruption. Krishna just showed up. Okay, yeah, so is the Tapashyashmi Tapashvishu, right? We all do austerities, tapas. We fast on Janmashtami. We spend time, like we had the Rath Yatra, we traveled an hour from here. And sorry, for people who are not from Baltimore, we recently had a smaller Rath Yatra in a slightly far off neighborhood. Right, so we do that. We distribute books in summers. All that is Krishna. That is all tapa. That is Krishna himself. And what does that tapa do? It leads to spiritual blood. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that all the tapa gives you chit shakti, spiritual blood. Okay. So all these are very brief and just, Krishna is just bringing out different things, random listings, penance of all the ascetics. And then he goes on to say, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all men. Right? So he's the intelligence of all the intelligent and the prowess of all the men also. Right? So strength of the strong. No, sorry, which one is this? PJ Mam Sarva Bhutana. Strength one is. This is 11. Yeah, so he's the original seed of existence. And so now Krishna is in this, he's teaching us how to perceive matter. That's what something also he's doing. He's saying, Buddhir Buddhimatamas. What is that? Buddhir Buddhimatamasmi. That I'm the intelligence of the intelligent. Tejas Chasmi. No, Buddhi Tejas Chasmi. Tejasvinam. So Tejas means ability of a person, right? That's just the ability there. That's what Prabhupada is translating it as. Well, no, he's not translating it as ability. He's the Tejas. Prowess, sorry. He's translating it prowess of the powerful. So yes, so many different ways that Krishna is teaching us that how it's everything him. You can see everything as Krishna's energy. All the power comes from Krishna actually, right? Because we see Hiranyakashipu, right? Hiranyakashipu had so much power, but he didn't realize that it was all coming from Krishna. He thought, no, I'm the source of it. But actually Krishna is the source of all that. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjun. Balam balvatam chaham kamraga vivarjita dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bhartarsama. Strength of the strong. He's the strength of the strong, but that strength has to be devoid of kama raga vivarjita, of any lust, not selfishly being utilized. Then it is Krishna. Right? So then even a romance between man and woman, it's not contrary to religious principles. Right? So that rasa is coming from Krishna. But when Krishna is not in the picture, relationship becomes selfish. Karma is not bad as long as we're doing it in a dharmic way. Okay, so I was just looking, sorry, I was just getting confused. Here Krishna is saying, I am the prowess of all the powerful men. And here he's saying, strength of the strong. What do you think is the difference between strength and prowess? Can somebody tell me? How do you see both of them? This both sound similar to me. That's why I'm raising this question.
Where is prowess again?
Prowess was in the last verse, 10th. Krishna says, right? Prowess of the powerful, all powerful men. It sounds similar, and just wanted to, for all of us to look at it more carefully and understand the subtle difference between both the words, even though they sound very similar. Prowess and strength. So, and it's a very simple difference. It's not nothing complicated, but you just have to think a bit about it. Any thoughts, anyone?
I think prowess is like a special ability, specific,
Special, like what do you mean by
like a
specific?
specific, like strength in a specific ability.
Can you give me an example?
Like maybe someone is like a very good artist.
Okay, so that's a good point. Yes, you bring out. I'll hold the thought a minute. I want to see if anybody else has anything. Anybody else, any thoughts? No? Okay, no, that's a good point you brought out, Juliata. So, yes, so what you're referring to is the creativity of the artist, right? So that's a good point you're bringing out. So these are the prowess is a subtle thing. It's more like the capability, the vigor, the heroic spirit, those kind of things, right? For example, determination of a scientist, and you said the artist, the creativity of an artist, and it could be the courage of a firefighter, for example. So that is the prowess. Whereas strength is very specific. It's about physical power. It's about force, influence. It's about potency, right? So that's the difference. Just keep that in mind. I wanted to bring that out so that we all know that Krishna is not talking about the same thing in both those verses. Okay.
Prabhu, so in this shlok, he says like he's the good stuff, right? He's not the other one. So then what about the other energies? That's also Krishna, right? Because he's the cause of everything.
Other energies, what do you mean by that? Other energies?
So like he says, right? Devoid of passion and desire and all of that. But what about like other people who are not on the right path? Are their energies, like the negative energies, also Krishna's energy? Or
So
they are not?
the way I like to see it is that this world is neutral. It's colorless. All those energies, they are Krishna's energies, but we can misuse them. We can use them for our selfish purposes. Then it's not Krishna anymore. Like they say, right? Which verse is that? Kriyatam 2:9, 2:9:34, with the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. I'll quickly show you. Why that was slipping out of my mind. 2:9. No, what is that? 2:9:34. Is it 34? Yes, this is the verse. Rite artham yat pratiyeta. Verse was just slipping my mind. I'll quickly show you what I'm referring to. Rite artham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyad atmano mayam yatha bhasho yatha tama. So this is Krishna speaking to Lord Brahma before creation. Whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Everything is Krishna's. But when I, as a living entity, make it a relationship with Krishna, see Krishna in the picture, whenever I see something, I see Krishna reflection in that. Then if I don't see that, then it's all illusion. Then it's all darkness. That's what Krishna is telling us here. So the thing is not that some energy is good, some energy is bad. All are Krishna's energy. But when I refuse to make that relationship and I feel that no, I want to use it, I want to enjoy it, then it becomes darkness, then it becomes an illusion, it becomes binding for us. Does that make sense, bro?
Yeah, Prabhu. Just that in the shlok, it just sounds like Krishna is saying that only the good energies are his energy.
Yeah.
Just from the shlok itself, but from a context, it does seem like that. So that's why I was confused, because everything is Krishna's. Then why is saying only X, Y, and Z is mine? So
Yeah. Yeah. So now you can read the purport. There's a beautiful purport to it, 2934. This is the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, 4 verses. Yeah,
Right.
but I think in the next verses, Krishna talks about the 3 moods. Where is that? 12. Oh, yes. Coming back, I think just referring to your question. 12. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I'm not under the modes of material nature, for they are, on the contrary, within me. So he's saying, he's accepting it, Krishna, that all states of being are manifested by my energy. As you were saying, right? That yes, it's all Krishna's energy. However, if you go back to that verse I was just showing, 2934, if I, as a living entity, feel that no, I'm going to use this energy, or I want to lord it over, I want to become the master, then even though it's still Krishna's energy, and I will never be able to control it, but out of that false identification, I go deeper into ignorance. I make a fool out of myself. And Krishna is that no, there's no, he's not bringing me into the picture. Fine, still he's trying to use my energy, but I'll stay away from it. So that's the way to understand that.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Krishna is now summarizing and wrapping up this section, right? So this is now Krishna has been talking about these 3 details, right? Satvika, Rajas, and Tama. He's brought these out very clearly here, right? Uh, Asura is somebody who delights in those carnal pleasures without bringing Krishna into the picture. If you break down the word Asura, Asu means material body. And Ra comes from Ramante. Ramante means one who delights in carnal pleasures, right? So that's a Asura. So technically, whoever is not bringing Krishna into the picture and enjoying, he or she is an Asura. You should understand from that Shastra perspective, right? So all comes from Krishna, right? Krishna is saying that I'm not in them, they are in me, right? Once Prabhupada was traveling and the pilot came and asked Prabhupada, that you're saying everything is coming from Krishna. So are the bad elements also coming from Krishna? And Prabhupada, said, yes. When one is facing the sun, the person cannot see his shadow. But the moment the person turns away from the sun, then that person sees his shadows. So evil is created by us. Achinta bhed bhed tattva. It's all in Krishna. So Krishna, they are in me, but Krishna is not in me. So keep it that way. 13. What's 14? I just want to see. There was another section that 14. Okay, this is 14. So let's just do up to 13 today. We can start 14 because 14 has slightly more. Okay, so we just did 12, 13. Krishna is continuing his discussion on the 3 modes. Deluded by the 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. This is a very interesting thing Krishna is telling us here. That, yes, I have created these modes, but never think that I also become subservient to these modes. Right? Never think that. What's the 14th verse? Okay. Well, let's just look at both of these verses. I'm sorry, I'm just deluded by the three modes. The whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. And in the 14th verse, Krishna is saying, this divine energy of mind, those three modes that he was talking about, consisting of the three modes, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So now Krishna is giving us a very practical way by which we can overcome those three modes that he's been talking about in 12th and 13th verse. First thing he's telling us in the 12th verse, this is 12, that they are my energies. Okay? But I am not within them, they are within me. So understanding that. And then 13, he says that people who don't know that, who don't understand that I am above these modes, they are deluded, they're delusion. And then Krishna says, how can you come out of the delusion? In the 14th verse is by understanding that these are all my energies. And if you surrender to me, then it's all okay. Then I can take care of all this. That is why when a devotee surrenders, Krishna can pull the effects of this material energy from the lives of that devotee. Not that he does it for everybody, or it's different for different people, devotees also. But because it's under Krishna's control, he can modify our karma. And he's saying surrender. Right? Surrender is a bit of a negative connotation to it. Right? Especially in English, the word surrender, everybody thinks, oh, we have to rebel against it, we'll not surrender to anybody. But the actual word, and that's why Prabhupada says this many times, English is not a good language. It's incomplete. It cannot explain everything in Sanskrit, given in Sanskrit. So the word in Hindi, Sanskrit is Sharanagati. Sharanagati means to seek shelter. It's just like a child who seeks shelter of his parents and feels protected. That's the meaning of the word surrender. Okay. So essential question is, why don't we perceive Krishna if he is all pervasive? And the answer being given is Tridhir Guna Mayi Bhaver, the three modes. So that's what is deluding us. So in the spiritual world, these three are Satchidanand. They are eternity, consciousness, and bliss. When they come to this material world, they become Sattva, Rajas, and Tama. So everything we see in this material world is just a permutation and combination of the spiritual world. Like, for example, everything you see on the TV screen, it is three colors, right? Red, what's that? Red, green, and blue. Earlier, they were cathode tubes in those TVs. That's why we used to have those big TVs. Now it's all a LED, but it's right. So it's but there's a single source of them. Krishna says that you cannot understand me because I'm hidden behind these three modes. And Prabhupada is explaining, I think in this one, that guna is that. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be held by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. When a guru comes in our life, the guru is liberated. I, by myself, because my hands and feet are tied, I cannot free myself. I cannot free anybody else. Only somebody whose hands and legs are untied, who's free, can help somebody whose hands and legs are tied. That's what a guru is. That's why who's a guru. So, and then Krishna is saying, Mayam Itam Taranti. Yes. Saying that you get liberated out of that. Okay. We can discuss this more about surrender. This is a pretty deep thought process here. Any thoughts or any comments from anyone?
I had one question, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
But I don't know, maybe you said like next week. I'm actually reading Prabhupada Lilamrita, and in that it was mentioned that lot of devotees who were initiated by Prabhupada, but they ultimately ended up leaving. And Prabhupada was mentioning that they were deluded by Maya. But I was just thinking when you were mentioning about this verse that once they surrender unto me, I take care. And I was just thinking that they were actually initiated by Prabhupada, but how did they end up leaving?
Because of our free will. They were with Prabhupada, till they were with Prabhupada, with the pure devotee, the potency of that purity that Prabhupada had kept them connected. It was not their purity that made them continue in bhakti. The moment Prabhupada left, they just fell off, just like a magnet, right? Let's say you have a piece of iron and you have a magnet. And till you have the magnet there, the piece of iron will be in its place. The moment I pull off the magnet, the iron piece will fall off. The iron piece by itself does not have any magnetic capabilities or does not have any quality to keep sticking to it. So those devotees were like that iron piece of iron that they just fell off. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. They're also elevated devotees. They actually surrendered to Prabhupada. So Krishna will give them credit for that. However, Prabhupada says this again in his purports that if a living entity does not want to surrender to Krishna, even Krishna cannot force him. So that the tiny free will we have can create havoc in our society. There were a few of Prabhupada's disciples early on who started to bring Christianity into Krishna consciousness, and they just made a big mess of it. And then they were, asked to leave ISKCON, and so forth. A lot of things happened. Won't go into details, but so the moment we start thinking that I have figured it out, and now I'm going to work on it, or I'm going to expand on it, or I'm going to tell everybody about it, that very same moment we will fall off. So surrender basically just essentially means choosing actions that take us towards Krishna and giving up actions that take us away from Krishna. And this egoistic thought process that, okay, I have figured it out, can take us away from Krishna. So that's the challenge they all had. That their free will, even though they were with a pure devotee, but their free will always exists. Our free will always exists. It's not that free will goes away. Even after you go to the spiritual world, your free will exists. And with that free will, you can misuse it. So that's the thing we should always be careful and vigilant about, not to misuse our free will. But that's the reason that, at least from my understanding. Hope that was of some help to you.
Yeah, in the Leelamrit, Prabhupada is still present though.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So their free will, again, so they were not, that level of purification wasn't there, that they could realize that, oh, this is a pure devotee of the Lord and I should surrender. They were still in that doubt, and doubt can be a very harmful thing in bhakti to some extent. That doubt can take you away. Because I remember there was one disciple of Prabhupada who came and said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, please bless me so that I can get a guru. Just imagine there's a pure devotee, a guru standing in front of you, and you're asking that. And Prabhupada said, yeah, fine, he blessed it, that's okay. But that free will, either Prabhupada was there or not, the free will can always just create havoc in our lives. Yes, Prabhupada was a pure devotee. He had that potency to change people. But then they also have to have some amount of sukriti by which they can continue that surrender, which was missing in them. Or in one sense, they misused their free will.
Yeah, it's just this.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, please go ahead. No, I was just saying that we can talk about surrender more in our next discussion. But yeah, surrender is a pretty big topic. We can continue this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. No, tell me.
No, I was just gonna say that it's a little scary to read all this and have this topic of surrender. I don't know how to prevent.
It's scary, but at the same time, it should make us vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
That how we feel that, oh, now I'm in bhakti, nobody can hurt. No, it's not, doesn't work that way. You have to continue till I'm in this body. I have to still continue doing whatever I need to do to keep my bhakti protected. We read the story of the four Kumaras, right? They go up to Golok to Vaikuntha, right? And they got angry there on Jay and Vijay. And somebody might say, "Oh my God, they have reached Goloka, they're still angry." So then they saw Vishnu, the personal form. They were all impersonalists. They turned to personalism. What I'm saying is that unless we don't come face to Krishna, we will have all this anartha nivritti might keep going on in our lives. So we have to be very, very cautious. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I went over. I'll see you all next week. I have to still, sorry, I just keep missing on that. I have to check all your exams, and then I'm going to send you the exam for this first 6, the closed book exam. I already sent you a question bank. If you all have any doubts about that, any questions that you want to discuss, I'm more than happy to spend a class on that, a discussion on that. But the question bank I sent you, I'll select questions from that question bank, around 10, 15 or so, and then that will be your closed book exam. So first go through all those closed book exam question bank that I have sent. And if there are any questions in there that you don't understand, please feel free to send me a message or talk to me. But yeah, there'll be an exam for the first 6 chapters, closed book exam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.